talk illegal trails.
Which area do you mean in particular?
Let's go for the obvious and talk about Plenny Hill.
It's got to a point now where something's going to have to happen.
What do you think might be coming in 2025?
Again, I had a chat with the Plenny this morning and with the guys at Super Morzine last week. What they're planning to do on Super Morzine is...
This is an e-bike podcast.
I love e-bikes.
We know.
I know that you love e-bike.
I love e-bikes.
What are the negatives?
Battery anxiety. People think you're lame because you don't have a downhill bike.
Try having a podcast. End of season wrap with Ben and Antoine from Altas Ride Co. Thank you very much for joining me.
We're stoked to be here, mate. Yeah.
I can tell. And just on that note as well, if you're thinking of visiting Europe next summer, then be sure to check out Altas Ride Co website, which is atlasrideco.com, or if you fancy a winter break, atlasskico.com, and be sure to follow them on the socials if you haven't already, because they're quite exciting. You tend to get some of the more extreme side of riding out here on your socials.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, we have a go. We see some clients doing some funky things. Some of the team do some funky things as well. So yeah, we see some stuff.
So just as well as a quick intro, Ben, you are the co-owner of Altas Ride Co. And Antoine, you are a guide. And is there any other things that you do for Atlas?
I am working with Ben as a mountain bike guide and a ski guide as well. We are based in Morzine, Léger and Chamonix as well. So yeah, born here, just having fun here, guiding here, show you the place.
Love it, living the dream. Right, let's get straight into it. 2024 summer season. For me, it's drawing to a close, which is very sad. And for obvious reasons, I'm not riding anymore. You've both been here for many years. So to kick things off, Ben, how's it been for you from a business perspective, and how has this year compared to previous years?
This year's been great. Any tourism company talking over the last few years is always going to bring up COVID.
Yeah.
So there's a sort of a pre-COVID conversation and a post-COVID conversation. We're still very much in the recovery phase of that. So last year was amazing. It was the best year we've ever had. Both in terms of numbers, the team, the way it worked, it was great. This year, I'd say, is probably the first normal year we've had since COVID, because there's been no restrictions on the way we operate. There's been no post-COVID, let's all go on holiday as soon as we can type of vibe. So it's been really good. It's been a good summer all round, really. Bit of tricky weather at the start, but it's just been consistent. It's felt nice.
Yeah, June was like really not great, and we obviously arrived at the start of June and went, is this it? Just feels like UK.
Yeah, it was rough. Like the bike washers were getting a workout, and you people spend a lot of time, effort, money planning a holiday. Yeah. And whether that's Morzine or anywhere else, for any other thing, and you get there and the rain's there, it's never, the nicest thing. The good thing about mountain biking holiday is, though, you can just go out and have fun, whatever, as long as your attitude's right. If the rain's pouring down, wet laps on the Pleney are about as good as riding with your mates gets. It's so much fun.
Yes.
But you still have to do the life admin afterwards and clean up. And, all people really want to do is they want to spend some time in the sun.
Yeah.
Ride, hot, have a beer, do that kind of thing. It's just an easier way of doing it.
Antoine, how did the rain at the start of the season affect the condition of the trails? Because what I experienced in June was like, oh my God, these trails are knackered, and it's the start of the season.
That was an issue for me about all the gear, all the stuff, all the bikes, cleaning, washing. But I think the biggest problem was for the bike patrol, the shapers.
Yeah.
They did have lots of job to do on the bike slopes. And the problem is at the start of season, the ground is not hard yet. So when it's rainy, that make like big water hole.
Yeah.
So they did have like a real job at the start of season, creating new slopes as well. So you have to wait and make sure they are ready to ride, and the rain doesn't help it.
Chil Con Carne, everyone was sort of excited to get riding that, and we had to wait weeks before that was open.
July, I think.
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it?
It opened right at the end of June.
Was it?
Yeah. Right,
but then they closed it for...
Yeah, that's right. They did,
For a week?
Yeah.
What do you think of that trail? Because I feel like jumping it, I lose the flow towards the end. I can jump all the first half of it, and then I just start to lose it.
I think that's one of the reasons why they've closed it, because they the shape is really well done, but you have to make sure you've got a good speed. And when the ground is soft, for sure you lose the speed. I find it really flowy. It's just the big road gap is a bit big for red slope, but you can manage to go on side. But then it's really flowy. Just when it's windy, you have to be careful as well.
Sure. Yeah.
I might be a bit too much of a has-been on the old jumps to have a proper opinion, but it takes almost a year for a jump trail to bed in properly, I think, so that it's hard pack enough to just ride through it. Okay. And no matter how good a shaper you are, unless you're, doing this for a career like someone like Nico Vink or whatever, you are going to have a bit of trial and error on building a slope like that.
Yeah.
I think they did a pretty good job, but I know what you mean. You've got to push pretty hard to clear every feature after a few runs, don't you?
I know. The only time I really started to clear the middle jumps was when I saw a guy who looked like he knew what he was doing, and I just tagged on the back of him, and then it gave me the confidence to go full send, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah,
when it works, like some of the Buddha, what's funky about Morzine and Leger and Chatel and all those different areas is that each zone has its own trail crew, and so therefore its own kind of style of building.
Sure.
And so the Super Morzine jumps, they're different to the ones you find in Leger, they're different to Chatel, Morzine, all of those, and so on and so forth. And you're seeing a bit of an evolution, I think, in the quality of the trail building in the Porte du Soleil and Super Morzine in particular. Those shapers are super motivated, right? Like they're really good and they're really receptive and they change and they adapt. And you've seen the jumps over the years get more and more like booty.
Yeah.
So like you say, when you're coming through and you go, oh my God, look how much air I've got.
Yeah.
It's, you're seeing that more and more as people are progressing and making better quality jumps.
125 hours or around once a year. That's the recommended service interval for a Fox 38 like this one. Or if, like me, you're planning on spending some of the summer in the Porte du Soleil, then it could be a whole lot sooner. So to keep your Fox or Marzocchi suspension running silky smooth this year, then check out the Silverfish Service Centre. They only use genuine Fox parts when servicing, ensuring that your Fox warranty remains intact. Season 2 of the EMCB podcast is proudly supported by Silverfish, providing me with all the kit I need to survive a season here in the French Alps. Silverfish are also celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, supplying the UK with some of my favourite brands from the likes of Fox, Marzocchi, 100%, PTs, Michelin, Cushcore, and many more. Right, that's the end of the commercial break. Let's get back to the pod.
Okay, Antoine, ski and mountain bike guide. I want to talk from a guiding beginner's perspective. So for when beginners are coming here for the first time, how difficult is it to guide people like that? And what challenges do you have for people that are first setting tyres down in the Porte du Soleil?
I think we are really lucky about the place, the tool. I call it the tool to improve. We've got to make people better for beginners.
Yeah.
It's not really rocky here, so it's not, I would say, really dangerous. As we were saying before, the shape is really well made. We've got proper green slope. We are not scary at all. They're still really fun to ride for good riders, but for beginners, like, amazing. So we've got Super Morzine, who's pretty flat on some point. Leger, who's long and flat on some point as well. For example, we've got some friends guide in other resort, and I like, you've got the best place to teach beginners here.
That coaching track in Leger is so cool. Like, I really enjoy riding that with the dog, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
You can actually send it like big time, but also I can imagine it's fun for even beginners.
You've got a bit of like mud, bit of roots, bit of everything, but not steep, never steep. Because we hate the steep when we are beginner on bike.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing ever. That's scary.
Yeah.
Compared to skiing, you crash, you slide.
It's funny how your perception of gradient changes over time, isn't it? Like you forget when there's somebody that's not that competent following that you're like, oh yeah, that's going to be quite hard.
Yeah, that's where having a really good guide comes in super useful. So Antoine's company, Season, we've been working with for a few years now. And we've got some American tourists out with us at the moment.
Okay. And
they haven't ridden in Europe before. Alexi's with them today, and they're supposed to be in Les Houches in Chamonix. So they're doing a tour of these different zones. And they have come here and they're just blown away by the steepness and the technicality of it all. Les Houches is going to be way beyond what they were capable of riding. But because Morzine and this whole area has got this amazing level of progression, and it's quite easy to find something that's, rooty, reasonably steep to really, really steep. You can really build on clients, and they're just stoked to be here and be able to have that. Whereas you go to a lot of other resorts, and they are going to be stuck for things to do.
In at the deep end.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like the power of having someone teach you or coach you that you don't know as well. Like when it's your partner, when you're maybe it's a family member, the person who's the student puts the brakes on and goes like metaphorically goes, nope, I'm not doing that. Whereas if you have somebody that's your coach who you put trust in, all of a sudden it makes you almost forced to go and do it. You give in to them, don't you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, Antoine took my son Luca out for a session mid-season, and his riding went from okay to actually pretty good in the space of one afternoon, because he's not going to listen to me like any dads out there. Like your son doesn't listen to you. Or they have fun riding with you, but they're not listening to what you're saying. They're just stoked to be with you. Whereas one afternoon with Antoine, and all of a sudden he was pretty confident on the jumps and hitting berms and had his feet up and had elbows out. Yeah, all the things I've been telling him to do. But
and I cannot do the same for my daughter I did with Luca.
I'll take her.
She's not going to listen to me, so you're going to have to take her.
Okay, so that's the beginners. How about experienced riders when they're coming here? Like, what's the benefit of having a guide when perhaps you've probably got groups coming here who have been here 3 or 4 times before, maybe more. But what are the benefits of then employing a guide to show maybe a bit more of the area?
I think there's 2 reasons having a guide. We are guide and bike instructor as well. We are doing some group lessons with Atlas every week. We are trying to do it. And most of the time they think, like most of the riders that are coming to Atlas, they are good riders, but they think they don't need it. We are working a lot on technique, on skills for half day. Yeah. And they feel better, they feel safer, they feel more comfortable on the bike, because it's different to ride a bike park instead of riding home. When you do the place where you're riding and you're coming here, it's totally different. Yeah. And so there is this part of improving on the bike, and there's as well the part of exploring the area, because you can follow the map. You can going like on this place, but we'll also know the slope depend on the condition of the day. What's the best slope? Where the shaper came yesterday to rebuild this slope, not that one.
Can we talk illegal trails? Because there's no shortage of, should we say, unsanctioned trails here in the valley. So are they illegal to ride, or are they just frowned upon?
When you say illegal trails, which area do you mean in particular? Like which ones have you ridden that you would say are illegal?
Let's go for the obvious and talk about Plenny Hill. Yeah. That's an area that a lot of people ride. And I mean, you might often find more people riding off-piste than actually on the 100%. main trails. Yeah. So how about there as an example?
Yeah, like Plenny is the home of European downhill, isn't it? I mean, you would, in between World Cups, you can go into a lift queue and see some high-level athlete doing something every hour of every day. And the skills you can develop on those trails are hard to repeat anywhere. It's a fast lift. It's a steep hill. It's easy to lap. You can do some pretty cool riding there. And, irrespective of whether they're illegal or not, they're amazing fun. But there is I would say a point coming where, and it's already past the point of sustainability for sure, but there's a point coming where there's going to have to be some pretty serious solutions thrown at stopping some of those trails. In between what you call mainline, there's a bunch of trails in there which are not really problematic in terms of safety. There's a whole other conversation about the sustainability of the forest and how much it damages the terrain. We can shelve that one and just go straight to the safety one, which is probably the most important to solve, because one day the trails that come out onto the road there between Leger and Morzine is going to get someone killed. Without an exaggeration, I'm surprised no one's been hit by a car already. Yeah. Some of the way that they come out onto the road is pretty hectic. Like they're blind chutes, and the trails coming into them are steep. They're steep and they're gnarly, and they're blind chutes onto a road on a blind corner. And it's gonna have to be solved. The issue is, and like we've spoken about this, off air, is that the issues are really complicated. You've got different landowners, you've got Leger, you've got Morzine, you've got Mary's, you've got lift companies, and what needs to happen is before something serious happens to a person of the public riding or just driving, is they need to find a solution. They want to find the responsibility first to see who's responsible for solving these things, and then they want to find the solution. But I kind of think that's going to take a bit of time. It's not something. When I did my first season here in 2000, there were 4. I remember.
Whoa.
You know, there was step down, there was step up. You know, and they came out on the road, sure, but they were pretty safe where they came out. And now. And so 10 years ago, you could probably count 40, you know, but you knew the trails, they had names, you know. Now there's no names left of trails anymore.
No.
Like there's just a complete hodgepodge of different lines, and most of them go straight down the hill, unfortunately. And, you know, the storms at the start of the year, did you see those storms? And whether that was all caused by, do you think most of, you know, those rains at the start of the season where it's closing the road? How much of that do you reckon was due to the weather, or how much was due to the trails that go straight down the hill?
That's the problem of trail. That's also the problem of the type of ground, because it's so much riding, it's getting hard, so the water is just flowing on it, and it's just going straight to the road. And before, when we were like the first one who were building trails on the Pleney, because we were born here, and that was like the place to be. And when we were shaping trails, it wasn't like straight line. It was doing like side to side to make it a bit more technical than fun. Today is like only straight because you have many, many lines.
It looks good on Instagram, eh?
Yeah.
And that's a good point. The Instagram thing is what is drawing many more people there because, and I mean,
but we're guilty of it too. Like we put people riding that stuff on Instagram. Like some of those trails I built, like back at, you know, not recently, but back in the day. We all share a responsibility for the problem. It's just a question of what we do now, because it's the Plenty so easy to lap, because it's so steep. You can cut in a line in an afternoon. We can go out riding this afternoon and I'll find a new line that I didn't know existed.
Wow.
You know, easy. And there'll probably be 3 or 4 of them up there. You know, it's really cool to be able to do it, but there's got to be a conversation, unfortunately, about 1, the sustainability of it all, and then 2, the safety of it all. Like, the Plenty know, and I just had a meeting with them this morning, they know that people come and ride the Plenty to ride those trails. They know. And I think that's part of the reason why it hasn't been solved.
Okay.
But it's got to a point now where something's going to have to happen.
From my perspective, I've obviously been here for nearly 3 months now, and I've ridden a lot of that time on the official trails. And I do feel like I've kind of got to a point where if I came back next year, I'd enjoy riding them for a little while, but I get it out of my system pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so what I'm thinking about is, okay, what would bring me back next year? And the thought of the Plenny hillside is definitely a big part of it. Another part is what we'll talk about in a minute, is the other trails outside of the bike park. But the Plenny Hill is definitely something that keeps people coming to Morzine and staying in your chalets, staying at people's accommodation and using the restaurants. You can understand why they wouldn't want to put too much of a barrier up.
100%. I think it'd be interesting to do like a clipboard survey at the Hotel de Savoie roundabout. And so everyone who's coming down the hill will be like, are you a tourist for a week? Are you a seasonaire for the season? Do you live here?
Yeah.
Are you English? Are you French? Are you Spanish? Are you Italian? Like, I do wonder, because 3 months is a long time to spend in a resort. I do wonder how many of those singles are the responsibility of the tourists, because it would be very easy to blame tourists coming in for the amount of extra damage to the trails. But I hazard a guess that most of the people riding those trails are local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pros.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to talk about pros, because that hillside, Plenny Hill, that's just, they all gravitate there. It's like a magnet, and it's so cool to be riding. I mean, standing in the queue with people that you see on TV and you see in other races, and all of a sudden they're the ones hooning past you on the trail. What's your experience of riding with those guys, and who do you get to ride with from time to time?
Last time I rode with pro guys like this, I just break the shoulder.
Oh no.
That was Mathieu Ruffet, the guy who won the last EDR World Cup.
Yeah.
And just riding through the Pleney fast, end of season, a bit tired, and crashed. And so it's so fun to be in the queue of Pleney and having like Phil Atwill, having Benoit Coulange, having all these guys riding the Pleney, because it's like home.
Yeah.
And I think they're coming for many reasons. Is you can lap easily, as Ben was saying. It's 1 hour driving from Geneva. So between the World Cup, it's the perfect place for them to stay. There is accommodations, there is restaurant, there is bike washing, like everywhere in the resort. So that's why.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things about the Plenny, and you don't get it on any other hill and why it's so popular, is not only how good are those trails, but also you can sit in that lift queue for 10 minutes and someone will rock up that you know that you can go and ride with.
Yeah.
Whether that's a local or a tourist or a pro level rider. And so you do spend a fair bit of time, riding with those different people. And I think over this course of this summer, you've seen most of the people from the World Cup circuit at some point, hey? And that's the same as every summer. Yeah. I think they've just started really putting those big summer long breaks in, haven't they?
Yeah.
To the calendar. And that's why.
Yeah.
So, especially for a lot of the Kiwis and Aussies as well, they're not going to fly the way back to Australia or New Zealand for a month.
No.
They're just going to come and hang out in Morzine.
Yeah.
And some of them are living in a van, some of them have got a chalet, and that's what they're going to go and do and lap the Plenny all the time.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we just had Jess Blewett on the podcast and she's just living in the town here and clearly sees here as the place to be.
Well, see that, just to go back onto that illegal trail thing again, is that Jess Blewett probably wouldn't do that if Plenny wasn't Plenny.
Sure.
So whatever solutions get found in the future, Plenny's got to still remain as Plenny.
Yes.
Otherwise it's going to impact that, like the pros coming here.
Yeah.
And it's going to impact definitely tourism to some degree.
Am I right in saying there's only 3 people that manage the trails on the Plenny Hill?
4.
Okay.
Big difference.
I guess so.
25%.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's a big hill and that's a big trail as well.
And not one of them drive a digger or have a digger.
No.
So they've just got pickaxes, a spade, and
Wow.
yeah. How many are on Avorio MTB team? I think there's 14, 12. 14?
There's 4 team of 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
Doing the shape.
Yeah.
You can understand that. And there's also, you can understand or you can see the effects of having a digger available to them as well.
Yeah.
Like the berms are always pretty well sculpted and the
they're always at it.
braking bumps don't build up for long, do they?
So Super Morzine is a bit more flat, so it's easier to go with the gear as well.
Sure.
That makes a bit difference, but yeah, for sure, there's more people in Avoria, so you can feel it on the slopes as well.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually quite shocked the first time that I rode Plenny Hill this season, and I was just like, I don't know how much of that I can do.
Yeah, dude, like people come and the first thing they'll say to you after they've been riding is like, oh, how deep are the holes on Plenny? Wow. It's, yeah, but that's kind of the beauty of it, I think. Plenny should be like that.
Yeah.
It should be raw and rough and hard. I think if you manicured Plenny, there was another conversation about those new jumps that have been put in on mainline, and they're too hard. Like Plenny mainlines always has just been about bashing your bike and body as hard as you can, as fast as you can. And now those jumps have made things a little bit trickier. They're going to be solved next year.
Okay.
They've told me. I don't know if you've heard about that, but yeah, they're going to be solved one way or another next year. And like Antoine says, getting a digger in there is pretty tough. Like they grade 10% maybe every other year with a big spider digger that comes down, which is a massive effort, it looks like.
Yeah.
I think even if they did get a big team of shapers and 2 or 3 diggers up there, machine building stuff, I'd still like it to stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think most people would agree. If you ended up with a manicured Plenny, it would be a different place.
What do you think might be coming in 2025 on the point of obviously adjustments happening to existing trails, and also do you think there's possibility of new trails being put in? So
I had a chat with the Plenny this morning and with the guys at Super Morzine last week. There's not going to be any brand new trails on Super Morzine yet, but the thing with that kind of process is like anywhere, there's a big planning process that has to go in. So what they're planning to do on Super Morzine is finish that trail, finish Chillicothe. So there'll be effectively new trails in the sense that they're just going to go on for almost twice as long as they currently do. Yeah. And then reshaping Tutti Frutti on Super Morzine. That's going to happen, that blue run that everyone does. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be new stuff because, planning can be put in. Plenny, is going to be a different story because there's a few different political things that need to happen before they can progress. But the story of Plenny over the years has been this constant want to do more and do better and open new lifts even. So not just be restricted to that one telecabin. And I do think that they want to do that, but they've just got to get a few things over the line first to make that a reality. they've also just got to find a way to get more funding, to get more trail builders, to get more digger time,
Sure.
that kind of thing. So I think that there will be a really good progression over the next few years, but you might not see like a new landscape or many new trails next year. You'll see progression over several years. And if you look back, you know, like every 5 years as increments over the last 20, it's pretty impressive what's happened
Yeah.
to the resort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Talking of the network as well, the Super Morzine area does get very busy. And that's the one area that feels like we get lots of kind of backlogs of people stood in queues.
Yeah.
And it does seem to, the problem is it's in the middle of the whole Port de Soleil area. And I wonder if there's anything that can be done to actually improve that situation.
Yeah, they increased capacity last year because 2022, it was insane. The lift queues to get onto that gondola to get out of Morzine are going back to the tourist office regularly, which is that's nuts. You know, you're on that queue for an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
This year, when the queue for the Zor chairlift, which is the second one, that goes back to the top of the telecabin, it's 15 minutes. It's not that bad. It looks really bad when you're in it and you don't want to stand in it, but it does go reasonably quick.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else they can do other than open up new zones to help alleviate the pressure. Like there's this massive project that's been talked about for years of replacing the Super Morzine gondola with something else, which I kind of hope they do, but I also kind of hope they don't, because the summer they replace it's going to be a pretty tricky summer.
Yeah.
Hopefully they find a solution that enables it to still run. But one of the best things would be just to get people out of resort quicker and spread out amongst the Port de Soleil.
Sure.
You know, sometimes it feels like the entire mountain biking community of like every country in Europe is on Super Morzine and they're all queuing to get on the same lift as you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's run pretty efficiently for what it is. But I think the key would be not so much improving the Super Morzine, it would be improving everywhere else.
Do they run the lifts here slower in the summer than they do in the winter?
I think they have to, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
they have to, because that takes time to put bikes on and for sure to take bikes off the chairlift. And you can't do it by yourself. They employ people just to push the bike off.
Yep.
So yeah, the bikes are slower. You're only 2 or 3 people on the bike as well. But as Ben was saying, the queue looks big, but that takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. People are used to having like big ski queues, but you're in the ski chairlift, you're like really compact. On the bike chairlift, you've got your bike on the side, you're like 2x2, and that make long queue, but you're not really compact, so it's going quite quick.
Yeah.
Quicker, most of the time, quicker than expected.
I actually, some of my most successful reels have just been shots of people stood in the queue. So people seem to gravitate towards that online, and sort of they love to hate on the queues.
Yeah, everyone loves a shocker, but I don't know. It's not that bad, and it's a good chance to have a chat. Everyone loves the chat. Like when you're doing these laps and laps and laps, you don't do the mountain bike thing, which is to stand at the head of the trail and chat for 20 minutes. That's what you're supposed to do when you're mountain biking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it gives you a chance just to do that.
And the other thing that I noticed as well, I've been out, and whilst I've been trying to tick off features, I can spend half a morning just on one trail, and you just push back up, try and hit that feature again, push back up again, and look at each drop, each jump, and you work your way down the trail gradually, and you feel like you've had a full day out on the bike and you've just done one trail. Yeah,
it's cool when you got a group of friends doing that too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's good fun. Super Morzine's amazing for that because the push-up's not that bad.
This is an e-bike podcast still currently.
I love e-bikes.
We know.
I know that you love e-bike.
I love e-bike.
Let's not hide that. So like Ben, you ride a Turbo Levo, and it's now your only bike out here. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Apart from your fleet of Enduros and Levos, of course.
Yeah. So I've still got an Enduro that I ride, but it's basically been molded into our hire fleet. I still love riding it. I think they're amazing, but whether it's a fad or I've just gotten older, or it's the kind of riding that I like to do, I like the way it rides. I think all of them. I just started reaching for my e-bike more and more. And even living in Morzine, I think it's an amazing tool. Yeah. It's an amazing bit of kit to have out here. Using the lifts or not using the lifts. Yeah. I'm pretty time poor these days. And I don't really have a schedule as such. So I'm just busy until I'm not. So if I get an hour or two, I can go out and do whatever I want, whenever I want on the e-bike. And I actually dig the way they ride, hey.
Yeah.
I think the weight's awesome.
Okay, we need to do that, like pros and cons of riding an e-bike in Port du Soleil in particular, because the reason I want to address those points is I've had an enduro bike here, and I've had a Levo as well here this summer. I've probably ridden Levo 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know what are the benefits of riding a Levo, or at least riding an e-bike.
Yeah, well, Antoine, you go, because I'll just wrap it on.
The good thing with Levo is with e-bikes is you can mix chairlift and e-bikes to just go further in the Port du Soleil to explore more areas. So you can mix taking chairlift to avoid some uphill with the e-bike, and then just exploring more the area, because we've got lots of legal trails as well that you have to pedal. Yeah. And it's much more quiet. No one's want to go there because you have to pedal. So the e-bike is the solution. And the riding is just amazing. We've got a trail. We live in the same place, and we've got a trail we ride in our garden. And that takes, to do the loop, I don't know, 45 minutes with the e-bike, 1.5 with the regular bike.
Good trail.
And you can mix as well as with the lift. It's like amazing.
Yeah. And we went out and rode together one evening, and that was the other thing. Like the lifts had closed, and we were like, you only had the evening, and so out we went at 6 o'clock. And had the best ride for just 2 hours. And we didn't see a single person, I think, the whole time we were out. Yeah,
that's all you need on the e-bike, eh? Like, you can do so much in those 2 hours. And that's why most people, I think, have got them now.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things about e-bikes is once you've got it set up right, I think a lot of people have their e-bikes as a second bike.
Yeah.
Or they're on a rental e-bike or whatever. Once you've got it set up with components that work, they're strong, they're set up for the way you want it, you can ride it just as good as a normal bike. Like maybe not quite as fast, but certainly you can feel as fast.
Yeah.
You know? And here in the Alps, you can use, as Antoine says, the lifts just to not rinse your entire battery. But you can go out and super Morzine. Like e-bikes jump really well. You can go up in the evening there and you can just lap really easily on one battery. You can do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 laps. Yeah. And have a great time. Yeah, obviously, it's way better when you've got a crew of people on e-bikes, so you're not out being a loner by yourself all the time. But I like the way that you've just got a bit more freedom.
What are the negatives?
Battery anxiety. People think you're lame because you don't have a downhill bike.
Try having a podcast.
I think probably the biggest negative of having an e-bike in the Alps right now is that not enough other people have an e-bike in the Alps right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the main reasons that you ride, for me, it's escapism and fun and whatever, but it's just social aspect, going out and riding with people. Yeah. And so it's nice when you've got some other people to go up the hill with.
Sure.
So I think if everyone had e-bikes, it'd be better. But then we'd get into a whole different kettle of fish with the whole sustainability, illegal trail things, because you'd be going into places that maybe you shouldn't be going into more regularly, and then we're in another problem.
What's your thoughts on it? Can you think of any negatives that we've not mentioned?
I think there's more people riding actually e-bikes out of season, because during the season everyone just want to go on the lift. I haven't this point of view. I'm like, I want to ride my e-bike all year round, even in the winter.
Yeah.
Winter is getting warmer and warmer. Like at the bottom of the valley, it's easy to find no snow trails, and it's quiet. It's easier to find friends as well who wants to ride e-bike.
Yeah.
I don't see negative point. And in my, I would say, business, in my guiding company, I think now, for sure in the summer, we're doing mostly pushback, not regular bike. Mm-hmm. But if you do like the whole year guiding I'm doing, it's maybe 50% of my job now.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
Wow.
And because the bikes are getting better and better as well.
Yeah.
Really well balanced, easy to ride for beginners. That helps them to have more balance as well. The bike fix you on the ground. So yeah.
We need to talk about that trail that you mentioned that's above where you live. Because we went out and rode it, and it's probably the longest Loma I think I've ever ridden in my life. We're not going to say where it is, but it's a special bit of trail, and literally you basically just dragged a hoe down it. Is that right?
Yep.
What a trail.
Yeah. There's an official route that goes down there.
Which is what we rode, obviously. Yeah.
Called.
Okay.
In fact, we should probably cut that because then everyone will know where it is.
Don't mention the name.
And it goes next to that, basically. And it's pretty easy to. This is the thing, hey. Like, there are tons of trails outside of the bike park which are amazing to ride.
Yeah.
And you can quite easily go and make and ride something that is next to them, around them.
Yeah.
You've just got to be a bit mindful over where they finish, where they start, where they finish, what paths they cross, and making sure that you're not going to be upsetting anybody by building features.
Mm-hmm.
You know this line in the Plenny, going back to the Plenny, there's a section of the Plenny that's got this really well built on-off,
Yep.
hip jump, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've not ridden it, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that kid's family own that bit of land.
Okay.
So he can do whatever the hell he wants in that little plot.
Love it.
Yeah. But that's not the same for anywhere else. You know, you'd have to, but if you want to start building stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit like the Surrey Hills rake and ride thing, isn't it?
True. Next year, I need to spend more time outside of the bike park because you told me about how much fun you guys have had on trails, which no one really knows about, only the locals. And so it's just so cool that that's here. From a guiding perspective, can you take people on those trails, or is that somewhere that you just have to avoid?
We take people on those trails. I'm not going to say no, but we take people who are responsible as well.
Yeah.
First, the first thing I say is like no Strava trail. Because it's not that I want to keep it secret. It's just that Morzine is getting more and more busy.
Yeah.
And if you find it easily on Strava, on other social media, everyone wants to go there. But as we were saying before, the moment of you have to pedal, it's keep it a bit like secret.
Yes.
But for sure, you have to do more here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we take people there, but we're trying to be careful of the type of people we're taking there, the level, the skills, the mountain respect as well is really important for us.
Yeah.
As being born here, is like, I want to protect them.
So what he's saying is if you want to go and ride cool stuff, you've got to smile and wink and be nice and buy them lunch and a beer.
Sounds
Easy.
good. Okay, let's do top tips for riding Morzine.
100%. The first thing that people should do is get coaching before they come or when they arrive. That's not just because Antoine's here, but it's going to be so important whether you are a beginner or a high-level rider, unless you've been coming to Morzine for the last 10 years, but like Bruni's got a riding coach, you know, to give them some kind of base or foundation or things to work on. It'll be a bigger improvement than any bike component you can buy.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be my number one.
Upgrade yourself, not your bike.
Upgrade yourself. Yeah, for sure. You know, we see a lot of clients come out, they're having an amazing time. I wouldn't stop that. And I wouldn't say that they have to get coaching, but you just know with some, like when you're here for a week, you don't necessarily want to spend the time to do like a morning or an afternoon or a day's coaching, which is why having talking about like a guide. So you can go off and ride some cool stuff that you might not know without having to think about where you're going. You can just boom, 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 do laps and then get some coaching along the way during the day. That'll elevate your riding, no matter what level you're at.
Best location to stay in the Port de Soleil?
Altas Ride Co.
Now, Morzine, 100%. Yeah.
And
Centre of everything.
And does where you stay affect the sort of bike that you should bring?
Yep.
The reason I say that, by the way, is we are here in Montreal, which is where I've been living for the season, and I value having 12 gears.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so useful being able to ride in on my enduro bike. I think if I had a downhill bike here, I probably wouldn't be using it.
Yeah, we did the figures and they're pretty clear of people who are bringing downhill versus enduro bikes. But this has changed as the bike industry's evolved, right? So enduro bikes have got better. Now they're getting more and more park bikes, you know, which are these sort of, they tend to be more aluminium, don't they? And quite heavy builds on them.
Yep.
But we've seen way more of these long travel enduro and park or free ride bikes coming over downhill bikes. It's pretty rare now. If you had 100 clients, you'd probably see 20 downhill bikes.
Okay.
So the type of bike that you should bring to Morzine in simple answers, like a 170, 180 mil enduro bike.
Yes.
Because then you can go and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
even if you are intending to ride laps and laps and laps, there's still going to be some pedaling to get to different areas and do different things. But it's always going to be the answer that the downhill bike is the best bike to ride certain areas, and the enduro bike is the best bike to ride others, and the e-bike is the best bike now to ride others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd bring all of them.
What bike do you ride, Antoine?
Bit of everything.
Okay.
I took this year. I take a downhill bike. It's been 10 years I didn't ride an e-bike at the proper downhill bike. I used to have the Enduro for 6 years, and then I've been on a smaller bike, the Stump Jumper. Like a smaller bike to pedal and Enduro day, and the big bike to shred the bike park, to teach the bike park as well, and the Levo.
Have you got that new Stump Jumper, the 15?
Not yet. Next year.
Looks interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? You've got the new Stump Jumper 15?
I've just got an e-bike, mate.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's it. We only have Enduros and Levos as our rental fleet, to give you an idea, and that's been the same for a few years. We haven't had downhill bikes as our rental bike for years now. The demand isn't there, to be quite honest. We get demand for downhill bikes for sure, but we haven't had a single client not want an Enduro. Special Enduro is a really good bike. It's really capable. It can do anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think it holds you back.
It's so good, they appear to have discontinued it.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Best upgrades to your bike before visiting Morzine?
Tyres.
Brakes.
Then brakes. Yeah, and tyres and brakes. Those
Okay.
two. Really good brakes, I think, would probably be ahead of tyres, wouldn't it? Yeah. Properly bled, reliable.
Yeah.
You know, there's some brakes out there that are spec'd on bikes from the showroom floor, which probably shouldn't be on bikes. Like, they might be okay around the Forest of Dean, but they're not going to last more than a day.
Yeah.
On Plenny, we changed all of our brakes to Hayes, and they've been amazing.
Okay.
And I think people like that, just having something that actually works consistently.
That's another thing worth mentioning, actually, that if people do come to stay with you guys, you've also got mechanics.
Yeah. So just for clients who are staying with us, there's a mechanic there, because the hours that he works are the hours that shops don't work. So like during the day, obviously, you know, you break a derailleur, you go into a shop. But our mechanic is, the way we roster our team, they're there in the morning before the shops open.
Yeah.
So that you don't lose any time riding, and then they're late in the evening while the shops are closed, so you don't lose any time riding. So we do have that support for our clients here.
The other thing I would add to that is I've really appreciated having an insert in my rear tyre. That I don't know whether you guys choose to fit inserts. They are a pain in the arse, but I've found it's definitely got me out of a few moments where I think I probably would have had a flat.
Yeah. Yeah, like probably less important here than somewhere like Finale.
Yeah.
For rim damage, but inserts, I think they're a bit of a preference thing, eh? Like if you're running some pretty good tyres, you might not need them.
Yeah.
Depends on the kind of riding you're going to do, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. Do you ride carbon rims?
Nope.
Nah.
Only for pedaling. I have one pair for pedaling and a stumpy, but
Yeah.
alloy.
I reckon I would say, I'm going to change my mind. Brakes, tyres, consider taking carbon rims off your bike.
Okay.
And putting aluminium ones in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Those are the top three things for Morzine.
That's definitely going to get the comments going. Controversy there, I think.
Yeah.
I really, I've upgraded my rear shock to a coil as well, and I've really appreciated that.
Yeah.
I think that's been quite a good improvement. Full face helmet, that's a good idea. Otherwise you might end up looking like this.
I like the open face. It makes you feel like you're going faster.
Okay.
Yeah. Slows you down as well.
Clear goggles was the other thing. The first time that I rode on Plenny Hill this summer,
Dude,
I went in with tinted lenses and I couldn't see a thing.
Yeah, you might look cool, but they don't work.
No. I think you can probably get away with it on Super, but other than that, clear goggles.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Also, the other thing that's become a fashion statement seems to be the back and chest protector.
Yeah. Do you wear body armor?
Yes, so for sure, of course.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. But like
depend on what I'm doing. When I'm coaching enduro or beginners, it's like too warm. But I always riding with long sleeve.
Okay.
Always.
Yeah.
And then when I'm riding downhill, for sure, I have like the full protections.
Yeah. What, like full Tron guy? Like
No, not anymore. I used to, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Step too far.
I don't know. We don't want to get into a safety thing, because that's, people feel safe in whatever they want to ride, right? But I'm not sure how much roost you get off following your mate down Plenny. I think the ones that have got the back protection in, that can't be a bad thing. But the roost guards probably should stay on a moto. But hey, everyone can do whatever they like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's funny actually that everyone goes for knee pads, but not people generally. I know I don't bother go with any arm protection.
The knees are the first thing to touch the ground when you crash.
Yeah,
It's not the elbows, it's always the knees.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ride to the shops without knee pads on.
No,
No.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it freaks me out when I see people doing it, riding hard.
I actually think a lot of knee pads are not protective enough. Like I've bought the biggest. I've got Scott Grenade knee pads, which have a massive amount of like inner knee protection. Because the amount of times I've crashed in the past and smacked my knee on the frame,
Yeah.
many knee pads don't have that.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
Yeah. Plus, it's nice, when you got to do things on your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Your
Got knee
knees?
pads on. I don't know, fixing a derailleur. Where's your mind going?
Need to put the knee pads on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right. This is a feature which is going to become a regular on the podcast, ChatGPT Quickfire questions, which may be, they're designed to be this is actually ChatGPT said this. These questions are designed to be fast-paced and engaging, perfect for sparking interesting conversations on your podcast.
Okay.
What was your favourite trail in Morzine this summer?
Mine.
Same.
Yeah.
Wow, a trail that we can't even talk about.
Genuinely my favourite trail this summer, and this is a bit of maybe a lame answer, but I think the dads will appreciate it. There's the green on Super Morzine, Soil and Green it's called, and I rode that more than any other trail this summer with my son who's 7. And I would replace every single trail I've ridden probably ever to continue doing that with him.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's really cool that they have trails like that up there. Coaching track in Leger.
So I would say coaching track in Leger,
Yeah.
Kind of same trail. I can spend all day long with beginners, with good riders,
Yeah.
with my daughter as well on the kid eye shotgun.
I can agree with that. Like it's such a cool trail, and I've been riding it with a dog, which is another controversial thing. But it's a really quiet trail, and it's long. It's not that steep.
Yeah.
It's really good fun.
Yeah. It's pretty cool riding when you're riding with someone who is, it's supposed to be Quickfire, isn't it? But you're riding with someone who is getting stoked on riding, and trails like that can do that for people.
Yes.
Yeah, of any age and any ability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, it's been Hattock because that's the black that's on Super Morzine, because it's the first trail that's really made me progress out here. And I mean, it was really scary to tick off those road gaps for me, and to work through that with a friend and sort of tick it off one by one. It was such a good feeling.
That can be a big challenge, I talk.
Yeah. It's a combination of technical features, technical riding, but also big features.
Did you get through everything?
Yes, ticked
Nice.
off everything, but I still never managed to ride it top to bottom in one hit.
So next summer, it's going to be the
Yeah,
goal.
it will be, and I really enjoyed it, and it's given me so much confidence to hit more features like that, and I think I've probably hit routes faster on that trail than anywhere else ever.
Yeah, right.
It's such a good feeling to get up to that speed.
Yep.
Question number 2. Favorite bike to ride in the bike park this season? For you, it's just the Levo.
Specialized demo.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years and I'm like, that's downhill bike are the best, definitely the best for bike parks. Even if you can ride everything with enduro, as we were saying before, it's like, it's different. Everything looks smaller.
Yeah, okay.
The jumps, the routes, everything.
Yeah, me, I just continue to be amazed by what a Levo can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so capable. I've ridden all the Plenny singles on them. I've ridden everything.
Funny thing is, I do see a lot of people that are probably now going to go down the route of owning an e-bike and a downhill bike.
Yep.
I think that could be quite a common thing, because exactly what you both have said, one bike is amazing for one thing and the other bike's amazing for other things.
Yeah.
Good combo.
And I reckon that's where we'll see the industry going to. Like if you look at manufacturers' catalogs, you start to see this SL format and big bike format getting closer and closer to what an enduro bike is.
Yes.
Both in terms of build kits and geometry, and I think that's where we'll end up.
Weight.
Weight is really important as well for the SL.
Yeah.
They are lighter than the bike we're racing, the downhill bike we're racing 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, I actually think there's a big market for big hitting SL e-bikes.
Yep.
I think that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, you like the Canevo, don't you?
Yeah, I love the Canevo. I think it's a really nice frame. I think there's a few things they could change on it. The standover height for the seat is a little bit high. The seat post doesn't insert far enough. Other than that, I think that's a cracking bike.
Yeah.
And would be a great bike for around here as well.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, Canevo here would be the only bike you need all summer, really.
Yeah.
Does everything an enduro does, but can get you from here to there.
Best bike park feature in the Port de Soleil area.
Best for what? You go.
You go.
Best bike park feature.
Shall I do mine?
Yeah.
I think it is the berms on the top section of the Vink line in Châtel.
Yep.
I've never ridden berms that big, that fast, and experienced that much G-force on a bike.
Yeah, cool.
They've rebuilt it at the start of season as well, so that helps a lot. They were brand new.
Yeah. Oh my god! I can. The first time I rode it in a train, I was like, "This is insane."
Yeah, the G-forces around them are intense.
Yeah, really good fun.
Yeah, I haven't actually ridden that this season. Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
With the demo, it's perfect.
With the demo.
You don't need it that. Like I think you'd honestly because of the big senders as well. I think the Levo would be amazing because it's just poppy as hell.
I would maybe say, because it's new, Chill Con Carne.
Yeah.
Chill Con Carne was like the new stuff of the year. So everyone wanted to go there, and that was like just fun to ride with friends.
That drop on Chil Con Carne, that road gap, has become the most famous road gap, I think, in Port de Soleil.
I'm going to say the Plenny, the new jumps on the Plenny for a different reason, and I didn't think that they were actually very good. But when mistakes happen like that, they get to change in a positive way.
Okay.
I think that it's going to be a good thing that happened, and that there are some errors, and then they'll revert back, and I think that will be a positive for next season.
So this is quick fire questions. Describe Morzine's biking scene in one word.
One word.
In one word.
Is oi oi one word?
Ask Deeks. I'm going to go for chilled.
Chilled.
Yeah, because I think it's a really nice chilled atmosphere, and people that are coming here might think that it's quite an intense place to ride a bike, but actually I think it's super chill.
I'd say I'd struggle to think of a word for it, but I think welcoming would probably be a really good way of putting it. Like Morzine should be everyone's first mountain bike holiday. It's the place you should come if you don't know what kind of rider you are.
Yeah.
It's a place you should come if you're a beginner, you're an expert, you can beat anything and anyone. And this town and resort and the resorts that surround it will welcome you in, and you'll find a place. Yeah, whether you're here for a week or a season or whatever.
I would say holiday.
Holiday.
Even if you live here like all year round, life is holiday here. You can do so many stuff. Biking for sure, but also skiing, paragliding, climbing, running. So bike is really important, but when you stay there, there's so many stuff to explore,
Yes.
to experience as well.
We need to touch on that because we've spent the entire summer here, and we've done a lot of things, not just riding bikes. Like we love going for a swim almost every day in Lake Montreal, and the amount of amazing walks we've done around here, it's such a nice place to just do holiday things.
Yeah.
Bro, the town's so busy. It's as busy any day in July and August, as it is in the winter, in peak winter months. And that's not people riding on the trails. That's tourists here just coming to experience the mountains.
Sure.
So they're there, they're renting a chalet, an Airbnb, hotel, whatever, and they're doing tennis courts, they're doing lakes, they're doing hikes, they're doing canyoning, whitewater rafting. There's tons of stuff you can do here that's got nothing to do, or just be here.
Yeah.
Like just be present here. I think that a lot of people have switched from the traditional beach holiday and moved to something a little bit more outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Rather than just sitting on a beach deck or deck chair and having margaritas all day.
Yeah.
They're coming places like this.
I think it's a good alternative.
Yeah.
Best après ride spot in Morzine.
Well, Bar Robinson's certainly the busiest, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Right?
It's busy.
It's busy. There's tons of bikes out there all the time. The police have had to let them use the bus stop for storing the bikes of riders.
Yeah.
Boomerang in Léger is good as well.
Yeah, Boomerang is good.
Ibex in middle of the forest.
Yeah.
I like
If
going down there.
you want to go like after ride or after swim in lake for a more quiet place with local beers, Ibex is the place.
Really
Ibex.
cool spot. Yeah. And we can walk here actually.
Yeah.
We'll walk there from here. Top tip for tackling Plenny mainline.
Good brakes.
Good brakes.
Good pray.
Hey.
Pray.
Pray. Avoid the braking bumps, which breaks down obvious, but
Stay high.
Yeah, main line. Not necessarily on main line, ride the main line. You know, there's outsides and insides of different corners that you can use to have fun with a track like that quite easily. Yeah.
That's maybe one of the thing I'm saying the most in the summer.
Yeah.
Draw your online. Don't stay where everyone's staying.
Yeah.
Go high, go inside, find a technique to keep the grip on, even if you're inside, but make it flowy.
Most memorable crash or wipeout story from this season? Shall I start?
Yeah, I reckon you'd have fun, wouldn't you?
Do you know the irony is, it wasn't when I fractured my wrist. The most memorable one was at the bottom of the Champery downhill track, and I thought it was just a cruisy ride into the finish line. So I wasn't concentrating. I was looking at other things, and I rode straight into the netting on the final river gap. And it was the biggest shock that I think I've ever had in my life, just to suddenly see as a river. I was straight over the bars and ended up in the middle of the netting.
Yeah, no, I haven't had any. Hey, I haven't had any crashes, and I haven't ridden with anyone that's had any big crashes.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had a pretty easy summer.
Nice.
I've seen some pretty good ones on Insta.
Yeah.
In Morzine.
Yes.
Some pretty hectic ones.
Last week I saw on these new jumps in the Pleney main line, I saw a knee just dislocate. So that was like in two parts.
Oh. It does happen. And
I didn't crash at all.
Season's not done yet, mate.
Didn't break anything.
Yeah.
no, we're not done yet.
That's
Not
great.
done yet.
Let's just talk about the Widowmaker and Super Morzine, because that is something that is a quite controversial feature. It's right underneath the chairlift, and it claims a lot of lives. Should that be flattened and turned into something else?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my opinion.
I mean, it's a big floaty jump that's often in the wind, and it's right underneath the chairlift.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I think it should still be a big jump.
Okay.
I think it should be two big jumps, one after the other.
Yeah.
I think they should be harder. It's the problem with the Widowmaker is it's too accessible.
Sure.
Yeah, so anyone can go and do it. I like the way that they've taken it off the trail. So now it's like an optional feature to go and do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because it goes down like this and then up like that, and there's also no gap, so you can hit the knuckle. It just doesn't take much to come down onto that knuckle with a fair bit of force and over the bars, or people aren't used to their suspension going and then like compressing and then rebounding like that.
Yeah.
It claims too many husbands and too many wives. I do think they should fix that.
Best place to grab post-ride food in Morzine.
If you like pizza, just go to l'Improviste.
That was going to be mine. Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking Apres?
Yeah.
Yeah, Beckshine then.
Okay.
Yeah.
As well.
Get a smash burger there. They make their own beer.
With good beers.
Yeah. That would be my favourite Apres spot as well. I didn't mention that earlier.
Okay.
But yeah, that would be where I'd go.
I don't think I've been.
You haven't been?
No.
Let's go later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Oh no, I don't know if we can do this. You can tell this is ChatGPT that's come up with it. Best hidden gem trail in the area.
Yeah, no, there are definitely trails like Da Trail on Super Morzine, which is really good and not ridden that much.
True.
Leger has just rebuilt a trail again. I forget the name.
La Roue Libre.
Yep. No. The one that we did the focus shoot on.
I had a red one at the top of Noche.
Yeah. But there's tons of little trails like that which are like not really ridden that much that are awesome.
888.
888.
It's a bit outside of Leger.
Okay.
You need to pedal like maybe 1 minute, but no one's going there because you need to pedal 1 minute.
Nice.
And it's always it's the same from the start of season to the end of season.
Yeah. The red in Morzine.
Yeah.
Probably the best trail in the whole of the PDS for getting wild.
Yeah.
It's got everything. Those berms are insane. It's got jumps, it's got routes, and it's just because of the nature of where it is in the PDS, it's pretty hard to get to. I'd call that a hidden gem.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I really enjoyed the canyon in Leger.
Yeah, that's another one.
It feels like North Wales.
Yeah.
It's very kind of rocky, rooty. Not many people ride it.
Yeah.
And it's totally out of character of all the other trails.
Yeah.
Quite like that.
That was my first ever trail I rode in the PDS.
Whoa.
Yeah, in 1999.
Wow.
I was 17. on
That was
holiday.
different.
Oh, totally. But
Changed.
I remember hitting it for the first time and I rode about 100 meters and I got arm pumped straight away and I couldn't hold on because it was so rough and rooty. Yeah.
Oh, we've done best bike upgrade. We've already done that one. Which trail do you find the most challenging?
I would say For good riders, I would say maybe canyon, because you have like one line to follow. You are the middle of big walls, and it's rooty, it's rocky, it's slippery. It's not steep, but you need speed to be able to ride easily. You need speed, and I think that's the biggest challenge in the brain for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Vinkline because I'm scared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's just scary.
It is scary.
Yeah, it's really scary.
And you get a right old collection of
Yeah.
people on it as well.
And that's not just the top, with those big berms. The green stuff at the bottom.
Yes.
Like, I find that really scary because you're coming in and it's supposed to be a green, but you can launch and then end up in a ditch.
Why is that a green? Come on.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I get scared on Vinkline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. Need a hug after it.
I'm struggling for that one. Which have I found the most challenging? It's probably Plenny mainline because I've not ticked it all off.
Yeah.
I think I
Next year.
was quite intimidated by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of those new jumps?
Yes.
Everything else was fine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The new
Yeah.
jumps.
A lot of people say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not the only one.
Most picturesque spot in Morzine for a photo op.
Definitely on the back of Leger is number one.
Yeah.
The Bourgeoise,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
Yeah.
Mont Blanc view,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
the lake of Jouplan, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
There's also an amazing spot from Châtel going down looking onto Lac de Montchamp on
Okay.
Panoramic Trail. Have you seen that?
Don't know.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's like a really good jump, which you can do a nice little tabletop over, and the backdrop is Lac de Montchamp, and you can't see the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, we've done some shoots there before. That's really good. Morzine's full of them. It's a pretty epic spot.
Oh,
Yeah,
love it.
like the thing with Morzine, is it's the center of stuff for what we know, but there's also tons of riding that people like Antoine can take you on
Yeah.
around the area.
Yeah.
Within an hour's riding of here or hour's drive of here, and you're in some pretty cool stuff.
It's such a good point. Like, here is an amazing central location to then explore from.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I need to do more of that next year. That's definitely a change that I'll make, I think, moving into next year. I feel like this year I've really got to know Morzine and the Port de Soleil, and then next year, hopefully, explore and find out what's in the surrounding areas.
good plan.
Yeah.
Right, guys, thank you very much for joining me on the pod. And I think we'll have another conversation quite soon.
Cool, man. Thanks
Nice
for
one.
having us.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.